Hello and welcome to the Two Robbies Podcast, your destination for in-depth discussion and analysis of the Premier League. I'm Robbie Mustoe with my friend here, Robbie, Earle, and this is a very special version of the Two Robbies Podcast, Rob, because we're going to report back after, on the final day of a weekend where we start the season in the UK, being at the stadiums, seeing action live, and kind of giving everybody a sense of what we thought of it. But let's start with more of the trip itself and the fun parts of it and what we enjoy most about coming in.
Every time we come, Rob, I always think we're slightly privileged to get the access that we get. We get to talk to fans, we get to talk to players, we get to talk to people around the football clubs. And we got to Manchester on Friday and it was raining. And guess what? It was lovely rain. And we got to London and it was sunny and it's lovely sun. And everything about this trip just gives us and arms us the opportunity to tell our viewers and convey to our viewers just what a special league this is and what special drama comes from this game that we love.
It's twofold for me. Obviously, we take a lot out of being very close to the pitch and seeing the speed of the game and the physicality of the players. But the other side of it is just the fun of being together for a few days. We spend and hang out, spend a lot of time with our commentators and Graham Mustoe and Lee Dixon and Peter Jury and John Champion and the team that helped them here. We all get together this mini Winnie, and it's a lot of fun. We have dinners together. It's a lot of travelling. It's we have to get up a little bit early, but it's such a valuable experience.
And we're privileged, aren't we? We get people to the desk as we get Guardiola here
ask
today.
Questions to these
we can ask questions direct that our viewers back in America hope appreciate, and we get open, honest, transparent answers in terms of where the football clubs are and what people are looking to do.
And speaking to players about how they're feeling and how they scored a goal or what the manager is like. So that stuff is invaluable. We've really enjoyed it and we get to experience these marvellous stadiums. Of which, Robbie Earle, let's start with a little rundown of some of the games of the Premier League this weekend. And of course, this is fresh in mind. We've just witnessed
Stamford Bridge,
Manchester City, the champions, coming here and winning 2-0. Lots of talk about Chelsea's changes, the manager changed, huge choice to change a manager, Enzo Maresca, which we ended up talking to. We know it's going to be difficult for him, Rob, don't we? Because we know he's got a bunch of players coming in. He's got to educate the players on the way that he likes to play. Let's start with Chelsea, Rob, and how did you think they played or how they looked?
I didn't quite know what to expect from Chelsea, Rob, and I think in our pre-season podcast I said they could finish third, they could finish ninth. That's where they are. Maresca said to us, which I thought was quite an important thing, he said, in a certain way, it's almost be good once the window shuts and he knows what he's dealing with. Some will go out, some loans, whether any more come in, and then he's got those group of players to deal with. Today they were second best, and in the end, I thought way second best because of City's control, and we'll talk about City. But I think the biggest test for Maresca now is start to bed in some familiarity and some rhythm to the football team. The back four I don't think is bad.
I think it's pretty good.
And it's a decent looking. It's young, Rob. They're a very young team is the other thing. Two midfield players he played side by side. He played Caicedo and Lavia. Not sure that Caicedo and Lavia quite works, but if that's the way he's going to go. Cole Palmer, I felt was a little bit wide and not enough in the action. And then the combinations in the attacking areas of the pitch have to become better, sharper and more incisive.
It's such a difficult game to start with, Rob, isn't it? Because he wants the ball, he wants to possess, he wants to play like City play under Pep. And when you play them, it's so difficult because they control the game so well with possession. I thought people that played well for them, by the way, I know that Wesley Fofana's been out all of last season with that injury, but I thought he looked really, really good. I like Malagusto as well. But they struggled against a really strong Man City
Let's
side.
talk about the champions, mate, because all the talk was, I know we had a slight discussion on air about the hunger and the drive. The two takeaway points and the two things that I got from sitting behind the dugout today, watching the Man City team, was Kyle Walker got up about 70 minutes into the game and made Jeremy Doku run back and get in a defensive position when his team were 1-0 up. Kyle Walker got up and celebrated that last goal by Kovacic like it was a Champions League winner. This isn't just about Pep, this isn't about technical ability, this isn't about possession, this is also about a group who are hungry for more success.
I enjoyed the individuals today, Rob. I enjoyed Doku, I enjoyed Savinho, and by the way, everybody came off second half injured. He looks like a talent. And Mateo Kovacic, we chatted to him in the end, what a lovely chap. But his goal was special. Erling Haaland's feet were great for his first goal. They looked surprisingly lively and really sharp on opening day.
Let me take you to the Emirates. Arsenal at home to Wolves. I think a game we expected them to win, but there's a little bit of pressure on Arsenal in that they can't afford to falter because we know with Manchester City lost 3 games last year all season. So Arsenal have got to keep the standard high. in the end, Rob, I thought it was quite a commanding win. The star people were scoring the goals that they'd want. Havertz with a goal, Saka with a goal. That's going to be so important for them this season coming up.
They're so the same. They're so the same, and why change too much? You know, Calafiore is a player that's come in. I know they're trying to get Mika Moreno in midfield or somebody else in there to give a few more options in the middle of the park. But it's the same thing, and we enjoyed them last year when we saw them. The Kai Havertz number 9 is established. That's it. He's your guy. No Jesus. The majority of games is going to be Kai Havertz. And if he keeps scoring at the rate that he did towards the second half of the season, he started off great, then that is really, really good. I don't think he was bought to be a striker, but it's ended up being a really good bit of business. And Saka, and I'm going to say the goal that he scores
is a Saka goal.
It's a Saka goal, and we see a goal like that in so many games. You know, defensively from Wolverhampton Wanderers, you can't let a guy that's so good come inside on his left foot.
I heard a great story, Rob, and I don't know if you picked up the same, that last week the manager took all the players out for a dinner, and they went to this dinner, and there was somebody who was dressed as a waiter. Did you hear about it?
I heard about it.
And this guy is a professional pickpocket, and he pickpocketed a couple of the players, and it was another one of those Arteta things that you hear about, that he tried to get his players going, and he basically said, be on your guard.
What's the point of that?
About being on your guard, that actually at any moment you've got to be ready. Again...
And by the way, how'd you hire one of those guys?
Well, I don't know. You go to the police. You go to the police and I don't know. And listen, maybe there's something in it. But again, I just think it's part of what Arteta said. And it was interesting when I've been doing my research and listening to him before the start of the season. He said, there will be tweaks to my team most weeks. That's the way that this league demands. And he's ready for that.
Maybe a little bit more tweaks than we've seen before.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of how he's going to get a little bit more out of this team, because he hasn't got to get much. He's only 2 points behind City. But no, I just, you know, sometimes a lot doesn't have to change or has to change, and I just think they look grooved, they look really, really good, and they got the start they needed.
Portman Road, 22 years since they were last in the Premier League.
They host we played at. The sign, Ipswich Town on the sign, I remember this place. It's been a while, isn't it?
It has been a while, and Liverpool had to go there, Rob, and for 45 minutes, I have to say, Ipswich gave them a game, didn't they?
They did.
And then, interestingly, at half-time, Rob, Joe Quance, who started the game, was taken off, and Canute came on. Yeah. And I was wondering why that wasn't. And what my sense that I heard yesterday is that Quance wasn't winning the physical duels that were allowing Ipswich into the game. And so defensively, he made a change that changed the game in the attacking third, which I thought was really interesting, because we've always said about Jurgen Klopp, he can influence a game at half-time. Maybe Arne Slot is one of those
absolutely.
as well.
Now, whether we can credit that change for everything, because the football was so much quicker and so more incisive, and Szoboszlai got on the ball and made his pass.
The quality's crept in, didn't it?
It just seems they stepped up the pace a little bit more. Yeah, I got a similar sense. You know, I think I read in a report it was more about Liam Delap giving Quance a little bit of trouble. But that's proactive, bold management. You know what? You know, we're going to make a change at half-time. And I just thought after that, you know, Mo Salah is quality, and the players that they've got, I mean, I think they're going to have a really good
day
season.
one.
I know
There's
those that following Jurgen Klopp is going to be a problem, and maybe the squad might take a bit of a excel, I think, as you said, and we had Tim Howard saying the same thing. I'm like, I don't know. I think they're excited to play for this guy. And that second half and the change from okay to really good was impressive.
Quick line on Ipswich, because it has been 22 years since we were there. I thought first half there was a lot of good things happened for Kim McKenna and his team. They look like they've got a bit of threat, look like they've got a bit of physicality. They had a nice press going at times that put Liverpool under a bit of pressure.
Four players, or four go and press.
Going in and press. Really, really so, listen, I think that they stand a chance, Robbie. Listen, the big teams might have too much quality for them, but there are teams in the league that they'll have possession and they can cause a problem.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I know and I said it on our show, Rob, about the euphoria promotion and what it does when you step out and you're a Premier League player in a Premier League team. The fans are a Premier League club. It's a big energy there, and I thought it was there at Portman Road, particularly in the first half. Liverpool's quality, lessened that a little bit. But that euphoria, excitement is going to be there for many, many weeks and months as this team try and stay in the division. And I think you're right. I'd like to see a newly promoted team spend some of that money that the Premier League's going to give them. And they have.
Calvin Phillips is a great
in different areas of the team, they've improved it. So I hope they do well.
Let's go to Old Trafford. First game of the season, Friday night, and we were there. It's a United football club that I wouldn't say is under pressure, is under the spotlight, I would say. There's been changes off the pitch that have better. They're now in a position where they're starting to build with new ownership, with a new manager. We've seen some players come in. This has got to be progression, hasn't it, Rob? This has got to be the season where we start to see some advancement of Erik ten Hag, Manchester United.
I think there's some important and interesting changes that we noticed. You talked a lot about Ruud van Nistelrooy, assistant coach now at Manchester United. We both played against him, by the way.
What a player.
What a player. What a finisher. But not just that. The signings that have come in, that makes sense for Manchester United. It's not Wout Weghorst or a few others that were signed. These look like good signings. Joshua Zirkzee comes on, Rob. We saw him come on 10 yards away from us. He looked fit, strong, really strong. We know he can do a little bit. He's got a little bit of cleverness in his play. And he makes the impact with a goal where he links the play, gets it wide, gets in the box to score goals. Yeah. The compactness was good, because I think we've criticised Ten Hag before about the team being so stretched from back to front that teams play through them too quickly. That was better. Rashford looked excited and ran up and down a few times in front of us, didn't he? Defensively as well. So I kind of liked it. I liked it. And we know that the team's going to change a little bit. Yeah. We know that he said that they weren't quite ready. And I felt for him a little bit, because there's many managers really that would feel their team aren't quite ready.
I think there's always a sense of
what about afterwards?
I was just going to say exactly the same. Do you think
for those who didn't see it, maybe we should explain.
He came up to, well, he was at the Sky desk, which is
having a laugh and
a joke with Roy Keane and one or two. Came over to our desk, wrote on Rebecca's notes, this is how you spell Zirkzee. Yeah. Then he was very light. He was good company. If we had an underappreciated performer of the week, I would have given it to Erik ten Hag, because
for his desk side. But
I just wonder, Rob, do you think that's a conscious thing by the manager and maybe the club, maybe the new ownership? Like, come on, we've got to be better with the media. We've got to bring people with us a little bit, rather than being a bit hard and a bit harsh.
I think it comes from himself, Rob. I'm not sure anybody else is going to say, "Hey, Erik." I think he's like, okay, how can I change my demeanour? Because he's so serious.
Yeah.
So maybe the chance at home, first game, they've got to win to be a little bit more approachable and likeable, I guess, on camera. That might be. We're here for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and you know what? We've got to be open to, let's hopefully seeing some Ten Hag progression, and Manchester United, being back up there, challenging for the title. Let's move it to the final game, London Stadium, West Ham. First time I've been to London Stadium, first time I'd watched the game there, so it was fascinating to be there yesterday. A West Ham team and an Aston Villa team, two very ambitious clubs. Yeah. We've both got a bit of money, both got a bit of quality, both got good managers in charge. I was really looking forward to this game. I was a little surprised, and I wouldn't say how easy Aston Villa, but it showed me how far Aston Villa have moved under Unai Emery, and how much work Lopetegui is going to have to do with the West Ham team to get them to the similar level.
It reminded me a little bit from today of Chelsea, a new manager that wants to play. Yeah. And we saw signs at West Ham that they did try and play when they could. They came up against a very good team like Chelsea did today in Manchester City. So it wasn't easy to get the message across. It's obvious that the style's different. And it's obvious that I believe that the fans are going to enjoy that. There's too many good players at West Ham United. Paquetá and Kudos, who, by the way, when you're there seeing him, strong, skillful. I think the likes of Thomas Souček in midfield looked a little uneasy with all the football.
The system might not
kept making the same runs, expecting long bursts. Jared Bowen, I put in the same category. Yeah. And it's going to take time for some of them to adjust, and maybe some of them won't make the future under Lopetegui at West Ham United. So, transitional, not awful, a few signs, tough to lose your first game. But Villa...
Couldn't love Villa. I couldn't love Unai and Emery anymore, mate. I couldn't love him anymore. When you stand there and you've seen him work, and he comes back with his coaches and he's talking to his players, he's involved in the game. He has taken this football club and given it an ambition. They're in the Champions League and they're in the Premier League, and I've still got them to finish fourth. When I saw the squad around us, Rob, when I saw the substitutes that came on, Emi Buendia and Tyrone Mings to come back into that group, I think this is a group that can go on two fronts and be reasonably successful.
Well, I think we differ on that. I think, wow, what an achievement if they could get in the top 4, as well as have a run deep into the Champions League. Sorry, mate. The Athletic ran an article I read this morning actually about Monchi. Is it Monchi?
Monchi,
the sporting director,
yeah.
And how he works with managers and how he works with Unai Emery. And it was just impressive. It's like they're buttoned up. They know what they're doing. They know what they're looking for in different positions.
Yeah.
They know the challenges of this coming season with the different competitions, the more games in the Champions League. And I thought the substitutions, the squad, Maatsen,
different changes.
Yeah,
Duran,
like Duran,
Maatsen.
By the way,
Ramsey.
Keep John Duran. By the way,
Yeah.
I mean,
West Ham wanted him as their main striker.
I know, but when he came on, it wasn't quite Watkins' day.
Different option,
Athletic,
option. Power, running behind,
got a bit of skill.
left foot. Oh, couldn't love Aston Villa anymore.
No, really good. Really impressive stuff. Really good.
Listen, mate, great weekend, as ever. We're jumping back on a plane tomorrow, head back to the States. Studio next week.
Lovely.
Back to it again. On a day when the champions showed a winning start, they won 2-0. That was a go-to result for the weekend for both Arsenal and Liverpool, while Manchester United got a Xerxes late winner to get Eric Ten Hag's season off to a good start. We'll be back next week for match round 2 of the Premier League, but for now I'm Earle, he's Mustoe, together with the two Robbies. Thanks for watching and listening. Be safe, stay healthy. It's a good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Good night.
Studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock. And be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you there.